Can women get addicted to watching porn? Speeding through red lights. Dueling with friends. Binging a ton of junk food. These things are pretty normalized, but does that make them safe, or even healthy? Porn, like many other things, might be normalized in our society today, but that doesn't mean it's harmless. As numerous scientific findings and research studies are showing, porn can become a compulsion or, in extreme cases, even addictive. Not only are the harmful effects of pornography overlooked, but there are also many misconceptions on the issue. Most notably, many people believe that porn is just a guy thing. Consider how pretty much all of the mainstream porn contains men using women as objects, and objectifying and humiliating them. Likewise, you never really see movies that show girls stuffing stacks of porn magazines under their mattresses or locking their doors as they power up their laptops. So it's got to be just the guys who watch porn. Right? Not exactly. The internet has made pornography easier for anyone and everyone to access. It's no secret that nearly every kid growing up today will likely see hardcore porn well before the legal age. A pornography epidemic is on the rise, not only because it is easier to access, but because of the lack of information people have had on the negative and harmful effects associated with the compulsion, and sometimes addiction. But here's the thing, guys aren't the only ones who consume porn regularly. Women absolutely do, too. According to this 2018 study, an estimated 91.5% of men and 60.2% of women consume pornography. There are plenty more stats where those came from, including one study that found about half of young adult women agree that consuming porn is acceptable and 1/3 of young women reported using porn. Women and porn. For an increasing number of people, including women, pornography has become a substitute for the feeling of happiness, or even be turned to as a coping mechanism. Like other harmful behaviors, porn can be used as an escape from reality. It can be used to make the consumer temporarily forget about feelings of sadness, fear, anger, or boredom. This habit can lead to or fuel existing depression and is also something depression can lead to. It's like a chicken and egg scenario, you're not really sure which one comes first, but in this case, you sure don't want to find out because it can very quickly affect your mental health, regardless of gender. In the end, no amount of pornography will take away life's problems. In fact, it will just become one of them. Not convinced, or want to hear more? Let's hear some real experiences. Below, we have stories from two young women who experienced very real struggles with porn. Stories from female consumers. Kelsey's story. Kelsey's obsession began just like most. She was only 11 years old when it started. I just discovered it by chance, although, at the time I had no idea what I was doing and no idea it was wrong. It became my main coping mechanism for when I was happy, sad, bored, excited, angry, or lonely. I told myself that my thoughts/fantasies weren't dangerous, that I wasn't hurting myself, and that since I wasn't out there having sex, it was okay. I lived with this in secrecy for 16 years before seeking help. Now, doesn't that sound exactly like the stories we hear from guys who become hooked to porn as teenagers? This story is the same one we hear over and over again from girls who are going through the same thing. When we asked Kelsey how she feels about porn being largely viewed as a guy problem, she replied, "I lived in shame and secrecy for so many years. I told myself that no one would understand because this isn't something that any other girl struggles with. And if anyone ever found out, they would think I was so gross and disgusting." She added that if she would have known that it was a human issue and not the main issue, I think I may have come clean and sought help much earlier. In our culture, it is acceptable for men to view pornography. It's even expected. We see it in almost every TV show or sitcom. It is so normal in our culture. But rarely do people mention women. I don't understand why people would assume that women don't have any sexual drive or desires, or why they wouldn't be sexual beings just as men are. We all have eyes. We all have brains. We are all wired to desire sex at some point. I think women can be just as visual as men. Nicoles Story. Nicoles' obsession and compulsion began developing at age 13. It continued off and on as she grew older, and then intensified when she went through a difficult breakup. She's now working through a healthy recovery, but it took a long time for her to get there. I didn't seek help for my addiction because I felt I was a freak of nature, because I was sure that I was the only woman who struggled with a man's disease. I remember looking up articles and blogs about recovering from pornography addiction, and everything I found was about men, for men, written by men. So, clearly, I was the only one. No one should feel shame because of this issue. Regardless of your gender, you should never be shamed simply because of your struggle. When we asked Nicole what she would say to other girls who are going through this, specifically teen girls, she said, "Understand that you are not the only one. Not by a long shot. Your worth is neither defined nor altered by this addiction. Please, reach out. Find someone you can trust. I promise you can be free of it." We're showing you a different story. Porn has become mainstream and casually accepted as a part of normal sexual expression. But science and research are showing a much different story. It can become addictive and is a rampant problem among everyone, regardless of gender. It's time we took another step to remove shame and isolation from those who struggle. It's time to stand up for everyone who struggles with porn, regardless of who they are. If you got some value from this video, give it a thumbs up, share with friends, and comment us below your addiction toward it. Subscribe and hit the notification bell icon. Thanks for watching.